Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your captain speaking from the flight deck. My name is Dinesh Balasubramanian. Namaskar Sabhi. Cockpit or the flight deck. Many of us are curious to know what is happening inside and the environment that prevails in the flight deck. With this note, I'd like to welcome you all on board for the next 15 minutes where I shall narrate the extracts of the true events which we as pilots come across in flights, the consequence of uncertainties and the challenges that we face in flight, still manage to conduct the flight operations more safer. I strongly believe the next few minutes of my talk may not only be relevant for the future aviators, but for all of us to inculcate in our day-to-day life. With this note, I will ask or request you all to please visualize the next few minutes as we may commence a flight together. Shall we get on to the vacation mode? Bit with a smile. Yeah, the mode is on. Imagine yourself that all planned for the vacation, tickets booked, bags packed, leaving home with a happy face, reaching the beautiful airport, over and about, getting to the counters, boarding past Prince Name, passing through the security, walking to the counters, and the boarding starts now. All is going well, seated happily in your seats, and now you spot an elderly captain and a young first officer. Along with them, the flight attendants giving you the safety briefings. Set buckled up comfortable, it's time for pushback. Aircraft is getting pushed back from the given position. Minutes down the line, engine starts. We are taxiing on to the runway, towards which you get it here, a double chime, ting, tong, lining up for departures, crew at stations for takeoff. More excited. The sun is blazing in your face. Down the line, engines are spooling up, aircraft is accelerating, you're getting deeply compressed towards your seats. From there on, seconds down, expecting for a beautiful flight to take you to the destination. Great. Airborne. A narrow silence, which is unusual in the flight deck. There comes a bang! The captain is now collapsing due to cardiac arrest. The first officer, the young co-pilot, is now the commander of the flight. The 80-ton aircraft, the $2 billion flying machine, is soaring into the skies, accelerating at 500 kilometers an hour. The souls of 189 passengers and 6 crew members' life solely relies on the young co-pilot. Here comes the dynamics. The life changes. No more a young pilot. He's become the commander of the flight. The scenario gets worsened up now. The captain is furthermore collapsing and falling onto the flight controls, leading the aircraft to pitch down and then bank left, getting closer to the terrain. He immediately calls the flight attendant, crew to report to the flight deck immediately. And then comes the flight attendant into the cockpit, advises her to admin the first aids and refrain him, buckle him up back to the seat so that it doesn't fall again. Think about the dynamics, what is evolving in his mind at this time. Multiple factors that he needs to task into. Not just to fly the plane. Need to report to the air traffic controller, to ask for the medical assistance upon arrival and declare emergency. Inform the company that the event is going critical. On top of it, evaluate the flight scenarios to choose the best airfield to land, to return back or not. Evaluate the weather conditions. Check the performance of the aircraft. Is it worth enough to go land or does he need to divert somewhere? And command the aircraft to fly the airplane to the given flight path. And configure the aircraft back for landing. Dump the fuel, burn, and then comes back into the finals of the runway and the co-pilot executes a heroic action. How is this all happening? Especially for all the young people. That's why I've been repeatedly saying a young co-pilot. It's not about young or old. It's about having the confidence and the structured thought process the clarity in your mind as well. The heroic co-pilots has been rewarded, awarded in the mass media, but comes home. Mama, I got killed almost, still alive. Of course, that's when it comes to mom, we all become kids, be it a hero or not. With this note, you see that? A hero is still one. I don't mean to say that I am the hero. Having said this, I'd like to get you into this zone, and I would give you a task, all of you, to imagine what would you do. Again comes a stipulated time frame, how your decision is going to be, and I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer. I understand we do have protocols not to interrupt the speakers, but with due request, I would like you all to answer. This is one of my flights in real case, few years ago, when I was a young captain. I'm still young, I'm not old either. A flight from Singapore to Mumbai. A beautiful calm night, around 2 o'clock in the morning. We're flying at 40,000 feet along the Malacca Straits and towards the Indian Ocean. I was able to spot the territories. We still got into the Indian territory as well. Somewhere around here, you see the term Wadi. We get a call from flight attendant. Captain, the passenger seated on row 3 Charlie is into deep epilepsy. We're not able to control. We paid for doctors, no doctors available on board. And we admit all the first aids, now things are going beyond the control. So we would request you to take the best course of action so that we can save the passengers. Now I've got 2 choices. Either to land in Bangalore, VOBL stands Bangalore, and VOH that stands Hyderabad. And I'm stuck right in the middle. And I've got less than 3 to 4 seconds to decide where should I turn to. I'm giving you 10 seconds. Where would you choose, Hyderabad or Bangalore? Bangalore? Where you love the city so? I'm from Bangalore too. Then I would ask you why. Well, no, we have an entire medical team always in the major airfields. I chose Hyderabad. I'll tell you the reason. It's all about the split-second decisions. The reason why I chose Hyderabad, the medical assistance in Bangalore and Hyderabad remains the same. The time taken to reach Bangalore and Hyderabad remains the same. Distance remains the same. Everything remains the same. But there is a reason why I chose Hyderabad. I'm concerned about my ill passenger. Yes, indeed, I got to save him. But more than that, I also have to be worried about my remaining 189 passengers to take them at the earliest to the destination, Mumbai. So if you look at the distance, Hyderabad and Mumbai is much closer than Bangalore and Mumbai. So it does make a difference about the dynamics which is involved, be it a peer pressure or whatsoever, have a clarity in your thought process. And that's the time where we all are tested, whether we would take a wise decision or no. It's all about one wrong turn, the entire dynamics change. So be more wiser about it. I would like to head back a bit 15 years ago. That's me, in 2007. Yes, just like you all, a high school kid. A 17-year-old, a small young boy, passionate about flying, flew to the United States for my flight training. On this note, as a part of a training mission, be it you're young or old, doesn't matter. A pilot is a pilot. It's got no gender bias either. As one of my mission, I was supposed to fly a night solo cross-country flight where you have nobody on board with you. A single solo 17-year-old boy. No instructor, no fellow passengers, nobody on board. I am about 500 kilometers away from my home base. As I'm getting closer to my destination, there we go, the challenge starts. A bad weather condition, weather is deteriorating further and further, and that's the time where I have to commence my descent to the destination. Like accelerator, in aircraft we have a throttle lever. I'm pulling the throttle lever back. The lever is coming, but the engine is still flushed with the fuel. Imagine yourself driving your car on the downhill with the accelerator pedal fully pressed in, and the accelerator is no more performing. You're downhill, full speed, and the car is accelerating more and more. The same thing is happening here as well. The thrust is full in, but even I bring it back, the airspeed is not getting down. Thunders are roaring, lightning strikes, Aircraft is jolting. I'm not able to descend further down. The air traffic controller advises me to descend further immediately because there is a colliding traffic. If I do not descend, I or he may end up meeting up in the air in a dangerous way, of course. With this, I have to do something. I got two options. Either, option A, go land the plane with high speed. Doesn't matter. You're still flying, right? It's okay, go land. The second option is, shut down the fuel supply to the live and running engine. Okay? I have to do either of these, right? I don't have any other option. With this note, I have to assess the consequence. I don't have time either. And the consequence would be this. If I go and land the airplane with a full or maximum speed, the structural integrity is in doubt. Which means I might end up burning my tires the moment I get in contact with the runway. What would happen? Obviously, fire would lead to a catch with the residue fuels, eventually a fatal crash, accident, which I was not ready to surrender my life for that. The option B is to shut down the live engine. It's okay, but there are many restrictions. If you shut the engine down, the plane will not fall down like a rock. It does have certain glide geometry involved in it, but that geometry has no error or the room for error. You better nail the game well. Furthermore, to add on to the consequence, the power supply will also go down. Now I'm running on my standby battery power, which will eventually deplete in few minutes. So I have one game to play, and I have to play it well, with which I do or die. What comes in the game? My confidence. And I knew what I'm going to do. So I chose the second option, shut the live engine down. Flight deck became dark. The weather is furthermore deteriorating. The geometry is predetermined. Bringing the airplane down. Could see all the emergency vehicles, the firefighters, ambulance, and the media, of course, getting the cameras and the equipments ready. Yes, indeed. The 50 seconds of those moments really felt like 5 hours in my life. Got to the threshold of the runway, could see all the sirens following me back, behind and by the sides. Right after landing, that heroic moment. First time, when I see over 20 cameras flashing at me. But I was literally, my heart was pounding, like, glad I'm alive. With this note, one thing was very much clear. The minute we are on the ground, we have a lot of supports. Could be your friends, your parents, your peermates, your teachers, and much more. When you're up in the air, it's just your fellow teammate. If he's not available, it's a one-man show. Back in 2021, last year, June, as a part of many, I was also a COVID victim, indeed my father. My father was admitted in the hospital due to COVID on the second wave. The game starts here. He was admitted to ICU for 31 days. I'm getting a call from my company. Captain, please report for duty. It is a must to report. It's Vande Bharat mission. We have to go collect oxygen concentrators and the stranded students and bring them back to India. I couldn't deny. With a heavy heart, I did accept the flight, flew, got the oxygen concentrators, and flew the stranded students back to the country. But the minute I landed, getting a call from the hospital. So, your father's health condition is furthermore crashing, and he needs to be sedated and ventilated as early as possible. What's your call? The space was blank. I was still on my uniform. I said, please go ahead whatever you have to. Eventually I lost him. Well, like rightly mentioned, there's always a transformation. From my dad, what I see is my little fellow. Yes, indeed. Despite being in the aviation industry for over 16 years, my little boy, 6-year-old boy, you know what he does? Recently had a chance to fly into Calcutta. Upon landing, the flight deck door opens, he comes rushing. He says, Dada, not good. Coconut landing, fix it first. I was like, dude, not so loud, man. Say it to me. On a brief note, I strongly believe that the approach to handle the critical situation and the dynamics by holding the attitude with the confidence and clarity is not applicable only for pilots, but for every one of us in every day, in every life as well. I'm truly honored for this beautiful evening. Looking forward to fly you all one day sooner. Thank you. Jai Hind.